Good afternoon. Welcome to Denver Deck Builders. My name is Keaton, and we're finishing up our project here in Lakewood, Colorado. This is a very, very beautiful project with a very, very beautiful view right out behind me. This is about 320 square feet of livable space on top, so lots of space to expand. They went from about a 12 by about 10 deck before out to this beautiful, large 320 square foot deck. We have the Fulton railing system all around with no top cap, so very beautiful, clean aesthetic. And then we have our picture frame all around with Camo hidden fasteners and a Trex decking product. Over to my left here, we have a 180 staircase, and we're going to take a look at that in here in a second. We are about 10 to 11 feet off the ground, depending on where you are, and they do have a full patio underneath, so we are creating a lot of space for them to actually live and use and expand into. So we also have right behind me down here, we have a angled section, which I'll show you here in a bit too. That was pretty fun trying to figure out those angles and make sure that they all look really nice and have good seams, especially with that picture frame. Like I said, this was a Trex decking product with a double picture frame border all the way around, Fulton railing all the way around as well. We have some hand tube rail as well, 180 staircase, 10 to 11 feet off the ground, and Camo hidden fasteners. We also use the Cortex plug system for all of our face screwed boards, because we do have some of those. And then down below we have a combination of KDAT and PWT framing, and that was just because of some of the spans that we have on this deck. We had to upsize those. So enjoy the video. I know we got a lot of footage throughout the entire process, a lot of time-lapse footage as well for the entire build. So we're really excited to show you guys that. Thank you for joining us once again. My name is Keaton, and enjoy the video. Morning, my name's Keaton with Denver Deck Builders, and we're out here on a job, and I'm about to build a platform, so I figured I'd come on here, show you guys exactly what we're doing and how we like to build platforms here at Denver Deck Builders. So I wrote down a little bit of a plan here to show you guys. We'll do the other side first. So this is our platform framing layout. So we got our cut list written out already over here. We're going to be doing a 180 staircase platform. So what that means is I have a staircase coming down this direction, bearing on this area right here. And I have another staircase coming down from here and bearing on the concrete down below. Something a little different that I'm doing for this one is I'm actually extending out where this area of the platform, where the stairs from the top bear on, so that our railing at the top of this staircase and the bottom of this staircase all lines up in one straight line. Usually what we've done in the past is we've actually made this all just a rectangle, and then that pushes that bottom staircase out 7 to 8 inches on the platform, which means that your railing post would have to go on top of that bottom step to line up. We don't want to do that, so we're going to push it back because we have the room and the availability to do that. So yeah, make that look good. So we have our cut list right here. So as you can see here, we're going to use 2x10 framing all around, 2x12 at the top of the stairs, so that the stairs have enough of wood to actually screw into and bear correctly on. We're going to have some 2x6, double 2x6 beams, both right here and right there, with about 3-inch cantilevers on the joists and 3-inch cantilevers past the posts as well. So got the cut list, got it all cut right here. So we have most of our joists set out right here. I've been working a little bit on it so far. So we have 2 of them set. I'm going to set the next 2, and then we'll set that rim joist basically where that staircase is going to bear on. Then I'll go grab the rest of it. We'll throw it on over this other area and get that set. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about how I'm actually doing that here while I'm working. So I've already preset screws and drawn all of our lines down, both the outside rim joist and also the one that's going to go over there where the stairs are going to go. So we're going to go ahead and get these two installed real quick. I like to use the GRK multi-purpose screws, the number 10s, a little bit thicker, have a little bit more strength and support. Bring this here. One thing you got to make sure to do, line up the top of these joists so that they line up perfectly. With these are the ProWood true frame joists, so they're actually playing down on the crown edge so that they're completely straight, as completely straight as you can get with KDAT, and so that they're completely flat where you're going to put your planking. So shouldn't have any crowns. All I always check just to be sure. But yeah, we'll set these two in place. One thing that I do on one side of the joist is I actually set a line going further down, and that's going to be the side that I measured to. The reason I do that is to make sure that these joists are straight up and down. If they're kinked at all, sometimes that does cause issues with the planking, cause it to rise or lower on either side. So I like to make sure that those are straight all the time. Let me see here. We got, there we go. All right. So this guy. Okay. All right, I got that set done. Oh, don't want that to fall. All right, now we're gonna go over here.
Same thing, you put your clip in, and then you line it, you like put the top.
There we go. All right, I'll move the camera a little bit here. And here we go. So like that. This one's a little bit more difficult to put on just because I'm holding the entire weight. I don't have anything to set on over there. So that one might not be perfect, but what I can do is set this side, and then I'll go back and change that and make sure that it's good to go. Hold down a little bit. There we go. I'm going to change the hole location so you don't want it to go back in the same hole. There we go. That's perfect now. I'll go down here. There we go. Got that one set. I'm going to fix this one right over here. Got that. What I need to do now is transfer my mark for how long this piece is over to that side so that I can set that rim joist exactly where it needs to go. I believe these are 45 inches. So dimensions of our platform, this is 82 by 48. So 48 minus 3, 1.5 inches for this rim joist, 1.5 inches for that one. It's 48. So, or it's 45, sorry. So I'm gonna match that over there. Over there it's 50, I wanna say 55. 55 and a half is the joist length. 3 is what it is. this section, this rim joist will actually go back and reinforce with some GRK RSS, rugged structural screws, just because it will be cantilevered past, so we want to give this plenty of support, tying it into those joists, because the beam will actually sit about 3 inches back from this face, so right about here. That gives us enough space to bring our stair straps up the back and secure it in. Obviously in the corners we're going to have to use corner brackets. I think just on this side we'll have to use corner brackets. On that side there's no joist going to be there, so there'll just be 2 right about here, but they are almost directly in line with the face. Actually, I might adjust those. I might make them a little bit off so that don't have to worry about that. But yeah. All right, I'm back. So I just went and cut this one. I just preset the screws real quick, and so we should be good to go. I'm going to set these two. One thing I didn't mention before is this one is actually PWT. Only reason I did that is because it's slightly stronger, gives a really nice straight board to support that staircase, and I like it more. So only downside is you have to take the top, but that's not a big deal. We actually had to use PWT all around on this one. We had 2 beams that had to be triple 2x12 PWTs, as well as a rim joist over here that had to be triple, or a single 2x12 PWT, just because of the amount of weight that it's supporting. So we have 2 different types of beams on this one. We have the KDAT, which is the kiln dried pressure treated wood, which is this stuff, and then we had PWT, which is an LVL product, so it's a laminated veneer lumber. Basically a bunch of sheets of plywood, so think plywood. That's basically what it is, just really thick. On the next project we're actually going to be using all PWT, so that will be a fun one to look at. It's a very big job. So yeah, I do have my guys up above me actually installing planking right now, and I have a time lapse going up there, so you might get to see that. But yeah, I get these last 2 in, and then I'll show you guys kind of what it looks like, and then we'll build beams. All right, so that's our platform right here. Obviously we still need to add planking. We'll do that after we get it up on the beams that we're going to set over here. And to do that we got to dig holes, pour concrete, get posts set, and get the beams set on top. So I'm going to build everything today, and then tomorrow, maybe today, depending on how far they get with the planking, might have them digging at the end of the day and pouring those caissons. So I'm going to get those beams built here in a second, and then we'll get all of the holes marked out, ready to be dug and poured, and then we should be good to go. So yeah, come on back. I think right now actually I'm going to cut this video and I'm going to take you off the stand, and I'm actually going to show you the framing for the rest of the build here. Give you guys kind of a look at what we did here. This one is a little bit of an interesting one, so I'll show you guys around that. All right. Alrighty, so a little bit of a weird framing on this guy. It's a pretty big deck, so we have all this section right here. That small section right there was where the existing deck was, and then we added on all of this. So this stuff all the way over here, did an angled section right there, and we also added on this section. So interestingly enough with this one, every single wall was not square with each other, so getting everything square and level was kind of difficult, but we got it done in the end. So starting over here, we ended up with this small ledger right here, where we added on a triple Simpson concealed bracket, and that's where that beam bears on right there. That is a triple 2x12 12-foot beam. We have our post right in the corner right there. That goes down to a caisson in the ground. We have picture frame on this one, so on the end right here we have a flat tabletop joist. So that's going to be a joist that's laid out flat in between 2 vertical joists to allow us to put that double picture frame border on it. And then we have about 11-12 feet of joist length right here to this beam in the middle. This beam in the middle, this one is a triple 2x12 PWT beam. That span is why I decided to be PWT. I think it spans about 102 inches, I believe is what it was. I'll have to double check that. And then we actually had to cut out and put in our beams in this post right here. So when we cut it out, we actually did discover that it was a 6x6 true 6x6 post in really good condition. So we're very happy with how that ended up. Had to notch out the PWT right there a little bit because of the PWT or the KDAT that's over here. So this KDAT beam right there is at 11 inches even, and this is usually at 11.25 inches. So we had to cut out our PWT just a little bit just to make sure they're the same size, and we want the tops to all be level, so we had to cut out the bottom. And then we transition into a PWT beam again, going off that post all the way to the wall right there, where we have another triple concealed hanger from Simpson, and that is supporting both this small section and the large section coming out this way. This large section is about 11 feet total, so we're spanning 11 feet right here from the wall to the outside of the beam over here. And then once again over here we have another triple 2x12 PWT beam, small cantilever on the end. And this is spanning the most, which I think is about 183 inches, which is why we had to do PWT there. And then again, we transition into a PWT beam for this final little section here. And then, as I mentioned in the other video, we have that single 2x12 PWT going all the way at an angle right there, because we are bearing some of these joists off of that. We also have picture frame, like I said, up above, so we have to add in blocking. This is really fun to cut and put in, all at a very, very big angle. I think it's 20-degree angle was what that joist ended up being at, just because of where the caissons down here ended up. So that one and that one, we wanted to be well within the edge of the patio, because the patio does drop off quite a bit. While we could have potentially put our post bases capped on the patio right at the edge and had enough concrete to have good compression, we decided not to do that and actually just cut out holes in the patio and put in our caissons. So we have a total of 5 caissons that we had to dig, all of which were cut into the patio and set 12 inches by 36, except for that one right there. But yeah, we have all that. We did have to cut out stucco for most of it, so we put in new flashing. We also have those guys right there. That was some lateral tension ties, because it's a permitted job. We have our lateral tension ties over there and over there as well. All right. So that is the frame up. We do have some posts to replace, unfortunately, because after we got ours up, some of them cracked really, really bad. So have those coming tomorrow. We'll replace those. And then yeah, everywhere we use Simpson strong tie products, like you should. All with the proper fasteners. So we have the 1.5 Tico 1/4 inch number 10 screws. We have some Tico nails, and then we have the 2.5 inch longer ones for all the diagonal sections. But yeah, they're planking up there right now, so we'll get that on time lapse and get to show you some of that. And then I'll walk around up there a little bit later once they have some planking done, show you guys what we're going to be doing with picture frame, how we're going to cut that. And yeah, cool. See y'all later. Alrighty, welcome back. I am prepping for Stair stringers right now, so just thought I would come on here, kind of show you what I do, and go from there. I'm gonna grab a little tripod here. Oh, actually, I can use the other tripod. All right. So we have two staircases on this guy. We got an upper and a lower. The upper, if you look here, oh, doesn't really show very well. Upper one is going to be 7 runs and 8 rises, and the lower is going to be 8 runs and 9 rises, and that's including the staircase. So total we'll have 16 runs, one of which being the platform, and one more rise, so we'll have 17 rises. So that's why we have 8 runs, 7 rises, or 7 runs up top, and then one of the runs is basically this platform here. So what that came out to on our stair calculator, I like to use this free app, or free web page. It's called, it's on calculator.net, and it's just stair calculator. You put in your total rise. So my total rise for the entire staircase was 129.625. For the top staircase is going to be 58.4 inches. And then we have our run in there as 10.5. Hit calculate. And this is going to give me a list of options once it loads. Let's see if that loaded. Oh, it loaded. Perfect. So we have, closest we can get is 7.3. And that's with a run of 7 and a rise of 8. So 7.3 is about 7 5/16. So we're going to do 1 inch divided by how many rises? 8 rises. So 1 inch divided by 8, that's 0.125, which is about an eighth. And then we had 7.3 in inches is 7 5/16. So we're going to add 1/8 to that. And basically what that does is just it accounts for that last inch there, so that your upper stringers are completely level once you get that on the platform. So we're going to cut this one first, and then we'll do, I always wait until the platform is up for the bottom staircase, because I want to account for any slope of the ground or anything like that if it's different from where exactly I measured from. We're on a patio here, so every patio is going to have about a 2-degree slope, 1 to 2 degree slope. So you want to account for that once the platform's actually in and you're measuring to the exact point where those strings are going to land on that platform. So I'm going to wait and do that one until we have the platform in, but we can start cutting the upper stringers right now. So I'll show you how I set up that square over here. So we're going to take you guys over here. Let's set you guys on this guy. All right. So I'll point you down here. So we have our framing square here. So if you remember, our runs, they're going to be a total of 11 inches, but that's accounting for our inch nose that hangs over the actual framing. So it'll be about 10.5 is what we measure to on the framing square. We're going to use these stops, put them on there, and then if I remember correctly, we are at, oops, 7.3, oops. So we're about 7 7/16. So I'm gonna want to flip this guy over here. So if you notice, right up here it says 16ths. If I had it on the other side, it's tenths. So I'm gonna go 16ths. So we'll do 7, and what did I say? 7/16. 7/16. Okay. So that's 1 underneath the half. So we'll go right about there. And here. Okay. That. Okay. All right, 10.5 here, and 7 7/16 here. We got our stops on, and if we remember correctly, we are having 7 runs, 8 rises on the upper staircase. So we're going to trace it out for 7 runs, 8 rises. So we're going to pull this back as far as we can. Do this. This one is actually going to get cut off. So we want to bring this back here and mark in line with that line. This is actually going to be where our framing of our deck or our platform is. So the framing comes in right here. So it'll come in like right about here. So it'll be a 2x12 right there. And this will be screwed into that. So this is the top of your staircase. And then you just continue down. So line up your lines.
Let's see if we can tighten up this gap just a little.
That. Let's do that. So that's our 7th run. But we're going to do one more rise. So 7 runs. On this one last rise, we're actually going to go an inch above the bottom. So just go up an inch, mark that. Bring you further over here. You can't see. So when you mark it out here and you measure it, right, you mark it from an inch up. So I'm going to actually mark it this way. And then we'll come back here and boom. So there's our stringer. This is our trace piece. I went and chose a really good one. You want to choose a good board for your trace piece so that everything else, you can make the adjustments if you need to. So trace on this guy. And then we'll get to cutting. I like to use the multi-tool to cut back these little triangle pieces. When I use the jigsaw, it ends up bending the blade really easily, and we want these to be as precise as possible because this is our trace piece. So I'm just going to use the multi-tool and get those. One down, 3 to go. Alright, so if you saw what I was doing there, I took that trace piece, I made sure it was all squared up with the back edge, not the front edge, because if you square it up with the back edge, that's your common point, right? So your front edge, you can cut off a little bit more here, as long as this measurement and this measurement is still the same. So line it up with the back edge. Luckily, these are both pretty straight boards, so they lined up pretty well. When you have a really curved board, sometimes you have to clamp it or adjust it so that it's perfectly straight. So yeah, got that on there, traced it out. You always want to cut one trace piece and use the same trace piece for all 4 of your follow-on pieces, because you don't want to start getting differences as you move along. So if you use that one and then trace it on this one, and then use this one to trace it onto the next one, you might have little differences, and even a 1/16 difference across 4 of them is going to end up being pretty big. So you want them to be as close as possible. So you always want to use one piece to trace out the rest. So got it all traced. Now we're going to go ahead and cut it. Alright, now that we're done with that, I gotta get the next few down here. I have to get fascia down here as well because the next two are going to be encompassing or wrapped in fascia for one side or the other. So I'm going to go get those other two 2x12s, some fascia. I'll get them set on this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you exactly what I do for that. But yeah, see y'all in a bit. All right, so went and got this fascia. Gotta wipe it off a little bit because it's a little wet. It's started raining. But so I got this fascia. We gotta get our trace piece over here. All right. So we gotta be careful with this trace piece, or with the fascia sides, because we don't want to cut two of the same side fascia pieces. So I'll adjust you guys down. So particularly when we're cutting the next one, we want to make sure that we're cutting the opposite side of fascia because it'll be on both sides of staircases. We cut our fascia to match up with the top and bottom of the stringer rises, and then our planks are going to go over top of it and come all the way out to the edge. It does leave the end grain showing, and on some colors of Trex we will get some paint and cover those up a little bit depending on what we're doing. So this is our standard way of doing it. So we'll take this, trace it onto the fascia first before I screw it into the actual stringer material. So we're going to trace it out on here. The reason I do that first is I'd like to move it around on the stringer material and make it perfect. So just like the other piece, we just traced it out. Now we're going to go get screws that are the colored screws of this color, and we'll actually screw them in. I'll show you the pattern for that as well. So we got our colored screws, the Captor XD screws. These are not the thinner screws. I'm going to start ordering 2-inch screws for fascia, but these are going to be the, I think, 2.5 or something, 2 3/4. So these are the screws that we're going to use. There is fascia screws that they make for fascia, however we don't use that here. We find that they don't work quite as well for our use case, and we like to simplify things and order all the same screws instead of having to order different screws for all of our fascia. However, both work just fine and will live up to the Trex warranty. We actually worked with Trex to make sure that we were doing them often enough and as many as they wanted in the fascia. So when it comes to putting fascia on the deck itself, we'll do 3 every 12 inches. For this guy, we're going to do 2 here and then 2 here, and then every other point. So if I have one here, every other point will have one at the back, at the heel of the decking, or of the fascia. Good morning, guys. I am getting started with some picture frame this morning on this other outside edge. So we got a angled section of deck down here. Now we got to cut an angle on our picture frame so that our seams match up. Calculated it out yesterday through a lot of trial and error, and it was 33 degrees. So I'm gonna use the track saw here to cut it. But 33 degree angle. Make sure it's nice and straight. Yesterday we cut all the ends right here. Cut them at 9.5 inches, which gives us an 1.5 inch overhang and keeps the ends nice and tight with the picture frame border. I'll show you that here in a bit. Okay, so we got that cut. As you can see, it's a nice 33 degree angle all the way to the end. There. And he's gonna get me my pieces for this section right here. I'll come all the way over here. And I'll have another 33 degree angle that way. And we'll go back into our straight section over here, all the way to this corner where it's 45 degree angle. So, and got Nate down there building stairs. Got this upper staircase pretty much done. Got to put fascia on the top first to get these last two steps in. And then we'll start doing railing around everything. Cut those beams back and do fascia. Goal today is to get all of picture frame done, railing posts in, hopefully some railing, we'll see. But we only got 3 guys, including myself, one of which leaves around lunch, and then we hopefully will have another guy coming later. So continue doing some picture frame here, and I'll probably change this to a time lapse so that you guys don't have to listen to me breathe all day long. All right, change it to a time lapse. doing a walk around. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful Fulton railing all the way around. Our beautiful picture frame border all the way around. Nice big open space here, 320 square feet. We got our angle section right here. And like I was mentioning earlier, these beautiful seams here. Again, Fulton all around here. And this is our 180 staircase that we have. You'll get a good glimpse at how we built our platform. So the staircase going down. Again, beautiful Fulton everywhere on this one. And then we'll go down into the patio space. Like I said before, we have some KDAT and PWT framing. So that's a PWT beam, KDAT framing underneath. And all of this as well. And we're going to go ahead and back our way down these stairs. Take a look at everything. We went with a larger beam right here to encompass this fireplace. Make sure they had an unobstructed view. There's our angled section once again. And our beautiful staircase right over there. Once again, thank you for joining us while we build this project. And come back soon. We'll build some bigger projects, some nicer projects, continue to grow. Have a good one.